Happy to have the Baltic Gladiator back on the show. Modestas Bukauskas, who's got another big one, this time at UFC Vegas 75 on June the 17th. He'll be taking on Zac Pauga. Modestas, how are you?
My man, always a pleasure talking to you, brother.
Very nice to talk to you as always, man. We did talk after your last fight, a big win your last time out there, UFC 284. So I just kind of want to start with what life has been like for you since then. Has it just been right back in training, or have you done anything for yourself to kind of take your mind away from the MMA game a little bit?
Do you know what? I haven't done that yet because I don't feel like I've earned it yet. Do you know what I mean? I've always sort of dabbled with the thought of, you can have a bit of time off or go on holiday, but my mission is conquest, mate. My mission is taking over. My mission is decapitating every single guy until there's no one left. Do you know what I mean? That's the sort of visions in my head. But do you know what? The best way I like to describe it is that it's just normal. Like it's a continuation of what I've just been doing. I've been I've been training adequately, trying to improve my skill set, training every day, trying to make sure I'm learning. And then when the fight comes, then you have a bit more of a focus, or you know exactly who you have ahead of you. But everything just continues as normal. The same like how I was training when I had, a 3 weeks notice or 2 weeks notice or whatever. I've sort of been just going along the same way. And I feel in great shape. I feel good. And, if I'm fit and able to fight all the time, man, me, I love to compete. So yeah, everything's been pretty similar. However, I've noticed that people look at me a little bit differently now that I've beaten Tyson Pedro. I think the fact that it came on such short notice and obviously in his hometown, a lot of people didn't expect me to win. So now I like even more so it now solidifies who's really with me and who's not. It kind of just shows that fans are, as much as I love them, at the end of the day, they only really care if you're winning. But hey, it's the name of the game, and I embrace it.
Yeah. Okay. Very well said. Let me ask you this though: do you have any hobbies? Anything that you do like to do outside of MMA?
Brother, I don't really necessarily have like a hobby per se. Like genuinely, all that sort, like I say, all that's on my mind is just trying to improve. I mean, I guess if you could say what I like to do in my downtime, like honestly, it's like reading, like just reading stuff, going out with my friends, like kind of just doing stuff. I do like to go out, I do like to go out in social situations, like going out to bars, not always necessarily drinking, but just being around in social situations. I like to be a bit of a goofball. So if you can, if you can call that a hobby, that's kind of what I like doing. I like just being a goofball. So that's how I like to sort of refresh and keep my mind always in a good place.
Okay, I would say that I'm somewhat similar in that regard. Let me ask you this: are you married? I don't know if you're married, you engaged, or are you single?
Nah, mate. I'm single, so obviously I'm on the market. So for all you ladies out there, nah, but yeah. To be honest, I was in a relationship, but I actually posted a video up on my TikTok, sort of explaining my views on relationships and fighting, and yeah, I just feel like at this moment in time, I'm just loving training, focusing on myself, and just hanging out and enjoying people's company, and that's it. So yeah, single Pringle out here.
Okay, man. Well, geez, you get another win here this time, June the 17th. Those DMs might be coming in left and right in your Instagram, Twitter, all that fun stuff, man. We'll keep it moving up to this camp because obviously you're right in the thick of things right now. I want to ask, anything new or different in this camp? Has it been the same training partners that you normally have?
Yeah, very very similar training partners. Obviously, my main man, Will Curry. Also, Lucas Klinger has been a massive help at my club in BST. It's essentially just been the same people, similar types of training. However, I've sort of added little bits and bobs, like I guess you could say a little bit differently in areas that I felt like I needed to work on a little bit more. But yeah, essentially everything's pretty much stayed the same.
All right. And I know we're still a couple weeks out now, but what's the weight at right now?
The weight right now is about 220, so I'll be dropping now a little bit lower. Like I say, I've been watching my diet, but I've also kind of like like I say, bits and bobs here and there that I like to enjoy and stuff like that, because I know by next week my weight will be, by the time I'm getting ready to fly out to Vegas, I'll be probably looking at about 215, and then probably going down lower than that just before I have to weight cut. So yeah, I'm all on point, mate.
That's good. Well, you're not right in the weight cutting week right now, so I can ask you this, I think, without upsetting you. But when you do get this win, what's the celebratory meal? What do you like to have to indulge in after all the hard work you put in?
mate, we're gonna have a load of whiskeys, a load of champagne. There's just gonna be. I don't think there's really going to be much food to be had, mate. It's just going to be mainly just getting wild and out after the fight. Yeah, for me, obviously, that comes afterwards. I'm very much concentrated on what I have to go and do in the cage. I'm very focused on war and violence and aggression and yeah, just fully embracing the warlike mindset for now. But then, of course, when I let my hair down, crazy Mo comes out there.
Okay. I love it, man. Let's talk about the 205 division. We did a little bit during our last interview, but there was a big fight announcement fairly recently, the end of July. You're going to have Jan Blachowicz take on Alex Pereira. Break that one down for me. How do you see that Titan matchup playing out?
So, in my opinion, obviously Pereira is a very good striker. So, very good leg kicks. So it will sort of be, Pereira is definitely, I think, going to have the striking edge in that area. He's going to be faster, of course. However, Blachowicz does have the grappling advantage. Not sure he'll be able to take him down quite as easily as Adesanya. But I do feel like the grappling is going to be a big factor. I honestly think Blachowicz might take it. By just getting it to the floor. Even though we know Pereira has some serious knockout power, we have yet to see what he's like on the ground. So yeah, I think Blachowicz would be the guy to get him down on the floor and really test him. So that's what I'm going for.
Are you as intrigued as I am to see Pereira at 205? Because obviously, beating Izzy, winning the belt at 185, and then losing it most recently. Now he's going up to 205. Do you feel like? I mean, we see how tall and lean he is, but do you feel like he's going to have that mass, that size to be still a very large light heavyweight?
Well, I mean, from what I've been hearing, he walks into the cage at 220 and he was a 185. I mean, look, I don't know. These could all be speculations and rumors and whatnot, but I've heard he's quite a big fella. So he's quite tall. I think he's 6'4" as well. So if that's the case, man, like, do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like his transition probably won't really be too difficult. It just means that he have a bit less of a weight cut, and he won't have to drain himself so much with the water. So, he's a big dude. He's a big
Yeah.
dude. So, yeah, I can imagine he'll transition quite well.
Okay, fair enough. And obviously, the champion Jamal Hill is still waiting for that next title defense. Yuri Prohaska, that's a name that obviously is right there on the tip of everyone's tongue. Do you feel like ultimately that's going to be his next title defense? And give me your way too soon prediction for that title fight if and when it does ever happen.
Yeah, I definitely think Prohaska's the next one in line. It's very unfortunate what's happened with his shoulder. Obviously, everyone wishes that he recovers quickly so he can get back into action. Um, but yeah, I feel like that's the next meaningful matchup for the belt. So depending on how long it takes, and yeah, I think it's a very intriguing matchup because we've actually, both of them again are going to be strikers. One's a little bit more unorthodox than the other. One's a little bit more boxing based, I guess you could say. Prohaska is very used to switching stances, but it's very very interesting to see Jamal Hill also doing the same now. He's started adopting, as I have, as many fighters I'm sure will do as time progresses. Now that Jamal Hill is also switching his stances and using his boxing, this may be quite a problem. And with the sort of like kind of very awkward, dangly, sort of weird angles of these punches coming from Prohaska, I think Jamal may actually take that one just through the boxing aspect. So it'll be, like I say, I think it'll be a very close fight, but I do think Jamal Hill might edge it.
All right. Well, your upcoming fight again, June 17th, UFC Vegas 75. You're at the UFC Apex. Obviously, very different than UFC 284. Are you excited to fight at the Apex? What are your thoughts on that as this your upcoming venue?
It's my chance to rewrite the script. The script of my Vegas trips in the past have not been very good memories. So now it's my chance to change history in a way. Like now it's my time to flip everything around on its head and go make some good memories out in Vegas. So fighting at the Apex again, I feel like this is now almost in my head and like just from a spiritual sense, like my third chance, and like it's like God has provided these trials and tribulations. So I had to have these lessons to now go out on a win streak and really do some damage in the division. So this is my chance. This is my chance to go and do that. And although it's not in front of a crowd, I ain't gonna lie to you. I was really hoping I was gonna get on that London card. That was something I've been eyeing up for ever since that Australia. I would have thought, I came into Australia on 2 weeks' notice. You got to at least let me fight in my hometown. But it is what it is. I understand that everything has to be earned. Your respect has to be earned. You have to go out and put on the performances in order to get what you want, and that's what I have to go and do, and that's what I will go out and do. I've got a tough challenge ahead of me. I've got the right challenge ahead of me, but this is a challenge that I will walk over. I'm going to put it on him from the bell, from the beginning. Like I say, he's very good in all aspects of MMA, but I just know I'm better, and I'm going to show that on June 17th.
Best case scenario, if you go in there, you put him out, you take no damage. If there is a fight that falls out at UFC London, is there any chance that you think maybe you could step up on short notice and fight again?
Um, Listen, if I'm being really like hopeful, potentially, but it seems like the card's pretty stacked, and there's no light heavyweight fights on there at the moment. So it seems like a very slim chance. But patience is a virtue. Sometimes you got to wait these things out. And you don't necessarily need to rush either. I'm going to take the right fights at the right time and stuff like this. I've got to take out whoever they give me at the end of the day. But I was very patient when it came to uh, the injury and coming back to fighting. I really wanted to get stuck in there straight away, and I had to sort of just bide my time. From September all the way to November, I had to wait a little bit. So I don't mind waiting for the opportunity. The main thing is to go out there, put on an explosive, absolutely spectacular performance, go and make a statement, go and make the headlines, and then everything will fall into place. You do your job in the cage, usually things happen the right way following suit. So like I say, that is the journey that I'm very happy to go and partake in.
Who will be making the trip with you to Vegas for a fight night? Who'll be in your corner?
So I've got obviously my dad, my mate, my head coach. Obviously, a massive influence on my life and my training and everything in general. And he's just as much of a goofball as I am. So we always have an amazing time. We always build many amazing memories, and I really do use his energy and spirit when I go in there in the cage because he was a fighter back in the day. Also, it runs in our blood. Also, I've got Danny Batten, who's my main coach at BST Academy, another one of my head coaches as well. He's been another great influence on my career, and especially in my resurgence. I briefly had a period where I left that team before the Khalil fight, and realized that actually those guys were really the ones who really cared about me and wanted me to progress and really loved me. And so Danny is a massive influence in my career also, in terms of a lot of my skill building and making sure my skill sets can convert to being put out in the MMA cage. And last but not least, Will Curry, as you saw in my last outing in Australia. Again, another amazing spirit, really good friend of mine. I do see him like a little brother. Has taught me many good things. Me being a lot older, you'd think I'd have all the experience, but in some cases, he has much more experience than me. Um, One of which is helping me to embrace the dark side. And yeah, I'm sure with us four together, nothing can stop us.
Yeah, that's a good group right there, my man. Well, you talked about Zac Pauga a little bit earlier here in the interview, but break him down a little bit more for me. You got some tape on him most recently. He had a UD win over Jordan Wright. We saw what happened in the tough finale against Muhammad Usman. Where do you feel like you're going to be able to really get the better of him here? Does it matter? Or are you just going to really shine, whether it's on the feet or if it hits the ground?
Listen, I've got some very good skill sets. Again, that I don't really show too much of my fights because why do I need to? In certain cases, you got to take what the fight gives you. I'm pretty sure Adesanya, for example, has got really good wrestling, but he just doesn't need to show it in his fights because the striking usually overtakes it. So, you know, um, Holger has got very good, very heavy hands. He seems to have good wrestling. He's like athletic, from a previous career. Like he's done many different sports, same as I have. So he's very athletic. I've seen him like go for a bit of wrestling in his previous fights. Not sure that you haven't really seen too much of the ground game. I've probably been doing a lot more ground game than he has over the course of my career and my life. So that is definitely somewhere where I would have the advantage. And yeah, 100%. I can never think that anyone is going to be better than me on the feet, especially the way that I've been training now, especially the things that I've added to my game. I feel very confident in everything. I feel just like full of energy and full of like really good vibes and good vibrations. I've been training very hard. I've been working my skill sets extensively. So for me, anywhere it goes, I should get the better of him. Like I say, he proposes many threats and many dangers that we are aware of. But ultimately, I will get the job done. I will finish him. He's a great opponent, but I'm better, and that's what I need to go and do. I need to go out and prove it, and that's exactly what I'm going to go and do.
You just said something, and it popped into my head for the perfect walkout song for your next fight here. You said "Good Vibrations." You remember the old Marky Mark song, "Good Vibrations"? It was like in the late '90s or something like that.
I think I know briefly what you're talking about, but you know what? As good as that sounds, bro, I've got something special lined up for everyone at the Apex, because my entrance song has obviously got to have some sort of powerful, sort of ancestral meaning to it. And as you know, my moniker is the Baltic Gladiator, so you're definitely going to hear something along those lines when it comes out. And yeah, talking the hardest. I don't know if anyone knows that English song, but that is my tune. That is my main song. So that's going to be blaring. But we've got a nice little twist to that song. So I'm looking forward to bring it out there on fight night.
Very cool. Can't wait to see you back in there, Modestas. Again, June 17th, UFC Vegas 75. Modestas Bukauskas takes on Zac Pauga. As always, man, I appreciate your time. Great talking to you. Before we do sign off, I'll give you the floor. Tell people where they can follow you on social media. If you have anyone to thank, anything to plug, the floor is yours.
All right, my man. So obviously MODYB 24 on Instagram. I've been trying to figure out how the hell to change that, but for now, MODYB 24 on Instagram. Twitter's Baltic Gladiator. And on TikTok it's also Baltic Gladiator. And yeah, I just want to thank everyone that's like I say, very close to me. That's always been helping me. I've got to give a massive shout out actually to the Coachellas and Paul Stain, because those three people in particular are actually coming to watch me fight in Vegas, and they've been very, very close friends of mine for a very long time. And it's going to be amazing to perform in front of them. So that's going to be a very special feeling for me. Obviously, I've got to thank my dad, main man, the general. He's an absolutely amazing father and amazing coach. Obviously, Danny Batten, everyone at BST Academy, Raymond, Lucas Klinger, Will Curry, one of my other main training partners, Hodger Gracie's Academy, Aria Estefanmez and Pure Jiu Jitsu, Sandro Tavadze, also everyone at Prometheus Wrestling. So yeah, I've got Simeon Powell as well. So we've got like I say, a long list of people that are always helping me out, always trying to get me to be better. One Athletic as well, Luke Day. I can't remember what his second name is, but Luke One Athletic, obviously repping the gear. My man just started up a company. He's from Take Me Out. He was on Take Me Out with me. Now he started his own company, so we're going to be repping all of his gear out in Las Vegas. So that's another guy I've got to thank. Distinct Physiotherapy, always helping me out with anything that I need. Yeah, like I say, I'm sorry if I forget anyone, but everyone that's been very close to me, you're all very dear and close to my heart. We're going to go and put on an absolute show. I can't wait to go out there. It is time for the Baltic Gladiator to take over.